Did you know that lions can sleep up to 20 hours a day? Although lions are considered fearsome predators, they spend most of their lives resting. After a successful hunt, lions can sleep up to 20 hours, fully relaxing and restoring their strength. This helps them conserve energy for the next hunt. In a pride, lions often rest together, sometimes even piling up on one another, while it's mostly the lionesses who hunt, as they are more resilient. This behavior allows lions to save energy for short, powerful bursts needed to catch their prey. Why don't newborns cry tears? Newborn babies can cry, but they don't shed tears. How is that possible? Their tear glands are not fully developed. In fact, it can take several weeks for newborns to start crying with tears. So while babies can loudly express their dissatisfaction, you won't see real tears until sometime after birth. This is one of the little wonders that happen in the first weeks of a baby's life. Lakes underwater? Yes, they exist. It's hard to believe, but there are lakes under the water. They are called brine pools, or underwater lakes, and they can be found on the ocean floor. How is this possible? It's all about the high salt concentration in these lakes, which makes the water inside them much denser than the surrounding seawater. These salty pools can look like real lakes, separated from the surrounding water, and sometimes unique life forms can be found in them, adapted to these extreme conditions. This is one of the amazing phenomena of our planet, which looks like something straight out of science fiction. Being born on February 29th is a 1 in 1,461 chance. People born on February 29th belong to a very rare club, as this date appears on the calendar only once every 4 years, during a leap year. The odds of being born on this day are about 1 in 1,461. That means only about 0.068% of the population celebrates their birthday on February 29th. They often joke that they age only once every 4 years. Some throw grand parties to mark this special day, making it an even more memorable celebration. Can you imagine that fungi are closer to animals than plants? Believe it or not, fungi share a common ancestor with animals, dating back more than 1 billion years. Unlike plants, fungi are heterotrophs, which means they can't produce their own food through photosynthesis. Instead, they absorb nutrients from organic matter, just like animals. This makes fungi a unique form of life, existing somewhere between the plant and animal kingdoms. Fungi are nature's recyclers, breaking down dead matter and returning nutrients to the ecosystem. Did you know that Dr. Seuss invented the word nerd? The term nerd, used to describe someone passionate about knowledge and science, was first coined by Dr. Seuss in his book, If I Ran the Zoo in 1950. This whimsical term quickly gained popularity and became a beloved label for those who are enthusiastic about learning and geek culture. Thanks to Dr. Seuss, nerd has evolved into a term of endearment for those who love to dive deep into the world of science and intellectual pursuits. How would you react if you knew that in Japan, buildings are made of paper? In Japan, they are developing innovative buildings made from recycled paper. This material is used for temporary structures such as pavilions or exhibition centers. The paper walls are treated with special substances that make them resistant to rain and fire. This is an example of how modern technologies allow for the construction of eco-friendly buildings that are easy to dismantle and recycle, leaving no harm to the environment. Believe it or not, polar bears have black skin under their white fur. A polar bear's fur may look white, but underneath, its skin is actually black. This isn't just a natural curiosity, it's an important adaptation that helps polar bears absorb more heat from the sun and stay warm in the icy Arctic climate. It's like wearing a natural solar-powered suit that helps them survive in one of the harshest environments on Earth. Why did ancient Romans wear togas? The toga was a symbol of Roman civic authority and status. Only free men could wear it, and putting it on incorrectly was considered shameful. But it wasn't just about fashion. The toga was highly impractical and required constant adjusting, signifying that its wearer was above manual labor. Plus, it was so hot and uncomfortable that Romans only wore it on special occasions. Who would have thought ancient fashion could be so complicated and impractical? Did you know that the King of Sweden has almost no power? Contrary to popular belief, the King of Sweden is not an active political leader. His role is purely symbolic, performing mainly ceremonial duties. Sweden is a constitutional monarchy, where political power lies with the parliament and the prime minister. Nevertheless, the king continues to play an important role in the cultural and social life of the country, representing Sweden on the international stage and attending state events. Interestingly, the Swedish royal family is considered one of the most popular and respected in the world, despite having minimal political influence. Can you imagine? Flamingos aren't born pink. Baby flamingos come into the world with grayish-white feathers. They develop their signature pink hue only after they start feeding on brine shrimp and blue-green algae. These colorful foods contain pigments called carotenoids, which gradually turn their feathers pink. It's a vivid transformation that turns these elegant birds into the beautiful pink creatures we adore. So, the next time you see a flamingo, remember, their color is all thanks to their diet. The first computer mouse was made of wood. In 1964, Douglas Engelbart invented the first computer mouse, and it was made of wood. This device, with two metal wheels, revolutionized how humans interact with computers. Today, modern mice are much more advanced, but that wooden mouse remains a landmark in computer history. The story of ink saving. How a period saved a newspaper. Thousands of dollars. How important do you think a tiny change in logo design could be? In 1967, the New York Times decided to remove the period at the end of its name. This decision wasn't driven by aesthetics, but by savings. The newspaper calculated that dropping the period could save them a significant amount of ink, around $600 a year, which today equals approximately $6,000. While such an amount may seem insignificant at first, for publishers, it became an example of how even the smallest changes can lead to substantial resource savings. Imagine how one small decision could impact the budget of an entire company. Did you know that the resolution of the human eye surpasses any camera? Our eyes can distinguish up to 10 million shades of color with such incredible clarity that no modern camera can compare. Imagine this. The human eye has a resolution of 576 megapixels. This is far beyond even the best photographic technologies available today. We all love high-resolution screens, but we often forget that our own eyes already provide us with the perfect visual experience. And the best part? It's completely free. How did the term honeymoon originate? And what does it have to do with honey? The term honeymoon traces back to ancient Babylonian culture. It turns out that after a wedding, the bride's father would provide the newlyweds with a month's supply of honey and mead, a fermented honey drink. This ritual was believed to ensure happiness and fertility in the early days of marriage. Because of this tradition, the first month of marriage became known as the honeymoon, and this idea has endured through the ages, becoming a symbol of romantic getaways for newlyweds. Can you believe the world's smallest monkey weighs only 100 grams? The pygmy marmoset, native to the Amazon rainforest, is the world's tiniest monkey. Measuring only 15 centimeters in length and weighing just 100 grams, these miniature primates have big eyes, a long tail, and live in family groups of up to 9 members. They survive by feeding on tree sap, insects, and fruit. Despite their small size, these tiny monkeys are full of life and energy. It's hard to believe, but there are trees that walk. In the Amazon, there is a palm tree known as Socratea exoryza, which locals call the walking palm. This tree can move short distances over the course of several years in search of better growing conditions. Its roots gradually shift, causing the palm to step. While it's not a real walk, the plant's ability to move toward the light makes it unique in the plant world. Johnny Appleseed, the man who planted apples not for food. Many of us have heard the legend of Johnny Appleseed, whose real name was John Chapman. This famous gardener didn't just plant apple trees across America. His goal was much more interesting. He planted trees not for the apples to be eaten, but to produce cider. In the early 19th century, apples were mainly used to make this alcoholic drink, and Johnny Appleseed became a hero among cider lovers. Knowing this story, each glass of apple cider will feel a bit more historical. What's the longest time between the birth of twins? The longest recorded gap between the birth of twins is 87 days. This astonishing record was set when one twin was born prematurely, and the other stayed in the womb for almost 3 more months. Imagine that. One twin born at the end of one year, and the other in the following year. This unusual story adds a remarkable milestone to the family's life, creating a unique timeline between the births of these twins. Why do you think giraffes have black tongues? Giraffes have tongues nearly half a meter long, and they're not just black, they're blue-black. This unique color isn't random. It protects them from the sun. Giraffes spend hours each day stripping leaves from tall trees under the hot sun. The dark color acts like a natural sunscreen, preventing sunburn. This amazing adaptation lets giraffes spend all the time they need in the sun without worry. nature thought of everything. Did you know that kangaroos have a spare pregnancy? Kangaroos have an amazing ability that's truly astonishing. Female kangaroos can delay the development of an embryo for several months if the conditions aren't favorable for the birth of a joey. This process is called embryonic diapause. Imagine that a kangaroo can literally put its pregnancy on hold if it's already caring for a young joey or if there isn't enough food. When conditions improve, the embryo continues its development. This biological marvel helps kangaroos survive in Australia's harsh and unpredictable climate. The Babylonian lottery. Fate decides dinner. Imagine your dinner invitation being decided by a lottery. In ancient Babylon, there was a lottery where fate literally determined who would attend the feast. This method of selecting banquet guests added an element of randomness and unpredictability to social life. Fate played a decisive role in who would be at the dinner table. This ancient custom shows just how much in life can depend on chance, especially when it comes to something as delightful as dinner. Antarctica is the largest desert on Earth. Antarctica, despite all its ice and snow, is actually the largest desert in the world. Yes, you heard that right. The criteria that define a desert are low levels of precipitation, and in Antarctica, very little moisture falls. The average annual precipitation in some parts of the continent is similar to that of the Sahara. This makes Antarctica a true ice desert, where endless ice fields stretch, instead of scorching sands. This fact highlights that deserts come in many forms, both hot and cold, and nature always has a surprise in store. Did you know there are 1,500 types of tea? The world of tea is a universe of flavors and aromas. There are about 1,500 types of tea, ranging from familiar black and green teas to exotic blends with fruits and herbs. Millions of people around the world drink tea, and each type offers a unique experience and its own health benefits. Drinking tea is a whole ritual in which you can explore different cultures and traditions, discovering new flavors with every sip. The first computer bug was a real bug. In 1947, a real moth flew into one of the first computers, causing it to malfunction. This unexpected visitor became the first documented computer bug. Since then, the term bug has been used to describe any glitch in a computer system. Who would have thought that a tiny moth could play such a big role in technological history? This little incident also gave rise to the term debugging, and the story remains a quirky part of tech lore. Hard to believe, but there's no letter A in numbers from 1 to 1,000. It's true, if you start counting from 1 to 999, you won't find the letter A in any of the numbers. The letter A only appears in the word 1,000. This fun observation shows just how unique the English language is and how unexpected patterns can be hidden within it. Sometimes, these small details make us look at familiar things in a new way. Why do chickens peck at their food? When a chicken finds food and pecks it on the ground, it's not just a random habit. This process is called beak pounding and helps chickens break down food into smaller, easier-to-manage pieces. A chicken's powerful beak acts like a tool to crack seeds and other tough bits of food. This behavior is common among many birds, but chickens do it with particular zeal, allowing them to get more nutrients and energy from their meals. Next time you see a chicken pecking, remember, it's using its own little kitchen tools. Did you know that the highest peak in Pennsylvania is lower than the lowest point in Colorado? This surprising fact highlights the incredible diversity and contrast in the geography of the United States. Pennsylvania's highest point, Mount Davis, stands at only 983 meters, which is actually lower than the lowest point in Colorado, the Arkansas River, at around 1,000 meters above sea level. Geography can sometimes surprise you with unexpected comparisons like this one. Is the 10,000 steps a day just a myth? We often hear that walking 10,000 steps a day is essential for good health. But did you know that this number isn't scientifically backed? The figure originated in the 1960s as part of a marketing campaign for a Japanese pedometer, whose name translates as 10,000 steps. It was simply a catchy slogan that stuck in the culture, but in reality, there is no specific scientific data that confirms that exactly 10,000 steps is the magic number. The number of steps needed to stay healthy can vary from person to person. Have you ever thought about how bats are the only flying mammals? Their wings are unlike birds' wings. They are special membranes stretched between elongated fingers. This unique construction allows bats to perform complex aerial maneuvers while hunting insects. They also use echolocation to navigate in the dark, making them incredibly precise hunters. Bats play a vital role in ecosystems, eating vast numbers of insects and pollinating plants. Elephants fear bees, and that saves farms. Elephants are giants of the savannah, but there's something tiny that makes them run away: bees. African farmers discovered that elephants are terrified of these buzzing insects. Using this fear, they started setting up beehives along the borders of their fields. These beehive fences create a natural bee barrier, and elephants, hearing the buzzing, avoid these areas to avoid painful stings. This ingenious solution helps farmers protect their crops from being trampled, maintaining a peaceful coexistence with these majestic animals without resorting to violence. Nature truly is the best ally. Did you know that the world's longest hair measures over 18 feet? A Chinese woman named Zi Cuping holds the Guinness World Record for the longest hair, which measures a staggering 5.62 meters. That's about 18 feet and 5 inches. She began growing her hair at the age of 13 in 1973 and hasn't cut it since. Taking care of such long hair is no easy task. She spends hours every week washing it and at least 2 hours just combing it. Sometimes she braids her hair or wraps it around herself to make moving easier. This record has remained unbeatable for decades. Did you know that a dollar can be changed in 293 ways? When it comes to breaking a dollar, the combinations can be quite diverse. By using various coins like pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins, you can make a dollar in 293 different ways. This fact showcases just how intricate and varied the coin system can be and gives a whole new perspective on the humble dollar. Did you know ice can take more than one familiar form? We usually think of ice as frozen water, but did you know there are over 17 different types of ice? The most common type we encounter daily is known as ice. However, depending on pressure and temperature, water can form other crystalline structures, each with unique properties. For example, under high pressure, water can turn into hexagonal or even cubic ice. These forms of ice occur in nature under rare conditions, such as deep ocean trenches or on icy moons. This shows how incredibly versatile and complex water molecules are, adapting to various environments. Can you imagine the world's smallest frog is less than 1 centimeter long? The world's smallest frog, Pediphrine amuensis, hails from Papua New Guinea and measures just 7.7 millimeters. That's less than 1 centimeter. Weighing only 1/100th of a gram, this tiny amphibian blends into the forest floor and feeds on small insects. Despite its minuscule size, its loud, insect-like call makes it one of the most unique creatures in the rainforest. How did lasers help discover a ghost city under the jungle in America? In Honduras, scientists used laser scanning technology to survey dense jungles and stumbled upon the ruins of an ancient city hidden beneath centuries-old trees. This city, known as the White City, or City of the Gods, had been forgotten and inaccessible to people for hundreds of years. Local legends say the city is cursed, and researchers found numerous artifacts that remain mysterious to this day. Can you believe a sloth can hold its breath for 40 minutes? Sloths, despite their slow movements, possess an extraordinary ability to hold their breath for up to 40 minutes. This physiological adaptation helps them survive in the treetops and protect themselves from predators, even allowing them to stay underwater for extended periods when crossing rivers. This unique skill, developed for life in the rainforest canopy, shows how evolution has crafted these creatures to perfectly match their environment. Sloths may be slow, but their adaptations are anything but ordinary. How about this? The discovery of DNA changed science forever. In 1953, scientists James Watson and Francis Crick made a revolutionary discovery when they presented the structure of DNA. This monumental achievement revealed the double helix structure of DNA, the very building block of life. Their discovery unlocked the secrets of heredity and laid the foundation for countless advances in genetics and medicine. It forever changed our understanding of life itself, paving the way for genetic therapies and innovations we use today. The secret of the Great Wall of China? Sticky rice. The Great Wall of China is one of the most impressive structures in the world. But did you know that its durability is thanks to sticky rice? Ancient builders used a mortar mixture containing this rice to bind the stones together. This unexpected culinary ingredient played a key role in strengthening one of the world's greatest wonders. It's amazing to think that something as simple as a kitchen ingredient helped build such a monumental structure. Imagine for a moment, the Sahara Desert is the largest desert on Earth. The Sahara Desert is not just a desert, it's a giant oven. Covering over 9 million square kilometers, it is the largest hot desert in the world. It spans much of North Africa, covering an area roughly the size of China or the United States. Temperatures in the Sahara can soar up to 58 degrees Celsius, about 136 degrees Fahrenheit, making it one of the hottest places on Earth. Vending machines are more dangerous than sharks. When you go to grab a snack from a vending machine, danger probably isn't on your mind. But here's the shocker. Vending machines pose a greater threat to us than sharks. Research shows that you are more likely to be killed by a vending machine than by a shark. This startling fact reminds us that everyday objects can be surprisingly dangerous. So next time you get a snack, be careful. The real danger might just be lurking in the office or school hallway. It turns out that icebergs have colorful stripes. Depending on the composition and conditions of formation, icebergs can be striped in green, blue, yellow, or even black. Green stripes are formed due to algae, blue due to dense ice, and yellow and brown due to iron presence. These colorful stripes are only visible in bright sunlight, making them even more mysterious and rare natural phenomena. Greenland shark, the longest living creature of the ocean, 500 years of life. Believe it or not, Greenland sharks can live up to 500 years. These ancient inhabitants of the cold waters of the North Atlantic are among the longest living vertebrates on Earth. Scientists have determined the age of sharks by studying the lenses of their eyes, which accumulate layers over time, much like the rings on a tree. Some of these sharks were born before the Renaissance. This incredible fact highlights how fascinating and underexplored the underwater world is. Imagine, the oldest sharks may have been swimming in the ocean when the first pyramids were being built. Believe it or not, colorblind people live full, vibrant lives. Colorblindness is a condition where some people have difficulty distinguishing certain colors, with red and green being the most common. However, people with colorblindness have adapted by using patterns, memory, and modern technology, such as color filters for screens and specialized glasses. These innovations help colorblind individuals lead full lives and express themselves uniquely. Despite the challenges, colorblind people overcome these obstacles with resilience and creativity, proving that life is as vibrant as they make it. What if I told you that your body has enough iron to make a nail? Have you ever wondered how much iron your body contains? It turns out that the human body has about 3 to 4 grams of this essential mineral. It may not seem like much, but it's enough to make a small nail. Iron plays a crucial role in our bodies. It helps produce hemoglobin, which carries oxygen throughout the body. Without this vital element, many bodily processes couldn't function. Now that you know this fact, you can impress your friends by saying there's a real nail of iron inside you. Why can dung beetles navigate by the stars? These tiny creatures have a unique ability to use the stars as a compass. At night, they look at the Milky Way to always move in the right direction and stay on course. This is especially important when they transport their precious dung balls over long distances, as these provide them with both food and protection. Surprisingly, scientists have found that their eyes, while not highly developed, are sensitive to starlight. This celestial navigation helps them stay oriented even in the complete darkness of deserts and savannas. Why can't ostriches walk backward? Despite their powerful legs, ostriches have one surprising limitation. They can't walk backward. Their joints and muscles are structured in a way that prevents them from moving in reverse. But these birds can reach speeds of up to 70 kilometers per hour, making them excellent runners capable of escaping danger in record time. It's hard to believe, but the Hercules beetle can lift 850 times its own weight. This incredible insect lives up to its mighty name. The Hercules beetle is capable of lifting loads that are 850 times heavier than its own body weight. With such astonishing strength, it's no wonder that this beetle stands as a symbol of nature's incredible feats of strength. The Hercules beetle is a true powerhouse in the insect world, showing that even the smallest creatures can perform extraordinary feats. Is it really possible that in Norway there is a tunnel where goats are herded every day? In Norway, there is the unique Lærdal Tunnel, which is considered the longest road tunnel in the world, stretching more than 24 kilometers. But what's surprising is that every spring, this tunnel is not only used by cars, but also to herd goats. During migration, the animals cross the tunnel in search of pastures, and it has become a local tradition. Not only is it safer for the goats than mountain roads, but it also attracts tourists. The secret to flight: 4 forces that keep a plane in the air. A plane's flight isn't just about its wings. In reality, there are 4 forces at work: lift, thrust, drag, and gravity. Lift keeps the plane in the air thanks to the wings. Thrust propels the plane forward through its engines. Drag resists the plane's motion, and gravity pulls it down. These forces work together to maintain stable flight, like a well-choreographed dance where each force has its role. Understanding these forces can make the marvel of flight even more fascinating. How about the longest word with just one vowel? Did you know that the word strengths is the longest word in the English language with only one vowel? It's fascinating, as this word is not only powerful in meaning, but also unique in its structure. It proves that even the simplest words can be incredibly complex when looked at from a different perspective. Next time you use this word, pay attention to its uniqueness. It's a small linguistic puzzle. Did you know that there is a country where money is made of plastic? In Australia, all banknotes are made of polymer, not paper. This makes them much more durable and harder to counterfeit. Australian polymer money can last up to 2.5 times longer than paper notes and can easily withstand humidity and even being submerged in water. In fact, due to this technology, plastic has become the currency material of choice for more than 30 countries. Additionally, Australian money can be cut in half, and each half is still considered legal tender until replaced. Is it possible? Sea otters hold hands while sleeping. Sea otters are one of the most adorable animals in the ocean, and they have a heartwarming habit of holding hands while they sleep. This behavior isn't just cute, it serves a practical purpose, preventing them from drifting apart in ocean currents. By holding on to each other, they form small floating rafts, demonstrating their strong social bonds and clever ways to stay together in the ever-moving sea. How about this? In Italy, there is a museum filled with objects found at the bottom of canals. In Venice, there is a museum where exhibits are collected from the bottom of the famous canals. Among the items on display, you can find ancient coins, musical instruments, luxury goods, and even cars. This museum tells the city's history through lost and forgotten objects, many of which lay underwater for centuries. Venice, with its labyrinth of canals, has always been a mysterious city, and these underwater discoveries reveal even more secrets of this ancient place. Have you ever thought about the fact that you can see a double rainbow on Mars? Surprisingly, it's true. On Mars, you can sometimes witness not just one, but a double rainbow. However, these aren't the rainbows we're used to seeing on Earth. The Martian atmosphere is so thin that ordinary raindrops don't form, but rainbows can appear due to fine dust and ice crystals floating in the air. Even though there's no rain on Mars, these dusty rainbows look particularly mesmerizing. But if you want to see one, you'll have to wait. Martian weather phenomena happen very rarely. Did you know that the Tower of London was once bright white? In the Middle Ages, the Tower of London wasn't gray as it is today, but instead, it was covered with a white plaster, earning it the nickname White Tower. At that time, white plaster symbolized strength and purity. Every few years, the tower was repainted to maintain its bright appearance. Over time, the coating wore away, and the tower became gray due to dirt and pollution. But once, it really was a gleaming white pearl on the London skyline. Why do fawns have no scent? When fawns are born, they have no scent. This adaptation helps them remain unnoticed by nearby predators like wolves and bears. This allows young deer to lie hidden in the grass, undetected due to their invisible presence. The mother deer returns only to feed them and then leaves again, avoiding drawing attention to her offspring. This survival strategy makes fawns true masters of camouflage in the wild. Amazingly, Norway has a special underwater restaurant. Norway has opened Europe's first underwater restaurant called Under. It is submerged 5 meters underwater, and through large panoramic windows, diners can observe the underwater world without leaving their table. The restaurant offers not only gourmet cuisine, but also the chance to watch fish and sea creatures swimming just meters away from you. This unique restaurant has become a major attraction for food lovers and nature enthusiasts alike. Why do snails bury themselves in the ground? The snails we often see after rain don't just dig into the soil for fun. It's their way of surviving extreme conditions. When it gets too hot or dry, snails create a special mucus plug to retain moisture in their bodies and bury themselves to endure the dry periods. This process, called estivation, is a type of summer hibernation that allows snails to survive harsh seasons. It turns out that hippos secrete bloody sweat to protect themselves from the sun. Hippos' skin produces a special reddish liquid that acts as sunscreen and has antiseptic properties. This bloody sweat not only protects hippos from harmful UV rays, but also helps heal wounds. In the wild, this feature makes hippos true survival experts who have found an amazing way to shield themselves from the sun. Amazing but true. Donkeys have more personality than horses. Donkeys are often seen as stubborn, but they're actually very intelligent and emotional. They can remember their friends, both humans and other animals, for over 20 years. Donkeys form deep bonds and can sense changes in their owners' moods. They love attention, can get jealous, and even become sad if ignored. These emotions make donkeys incredibly unique and affectionate animals that deserve much more appreciation. Can you believe it? Cows have best friends. Cows, beyond being valuable farm animals, are incredibly social creatures with rich emotional lives. They can form strong friendships with other cows, and if separated from their best friends, they can become stressed. Cows often spend time together, graze in pairs, and express their emotions through unique vocalizations. Their social bonds highlight that cows are not just animals providing milk, but they have their own emotional worlds that deserve recognition. Why does Sweden have one of the strangest museums in the world? In Stockholm, there is the Museum of Failure, where you can find exhibits of failed inventions, products, and services that did not meet expectations. For example, you can see Coca-Cola with a coffee flavor, strange household gadgets, and even video games that flopped. The creators of the museum believe that we learn from mistakes and that failure is an essential part of any discovery. Visitors often marvel at how bizarre some ideas can be and how far people go in their pursuit of innovation. This museum has become a place where you can laugh at the past and rethink what success means. Did you know your keyboard is dirtier than a toilet seat? It sounds awful, but your keyboard can be a real breeding ground for germs. Studies have shown that keyboards often contain more bacteria than toilet seats. Dust, food crumbs, and microbes accumulate on the keys over time. That's why regularly cleaning your keyboard isn't just a good habit. It's an important hygiene measure. A keyboard cleaner and wet wipes are your best friends in the battle against germs. Can you imagine that 1 billion seconds equals 32 years? If you calculate, 1 billion seconds equals approximately 31 years, 8 months, and 8 days. It's an example of how easy it is to get lost in the measurement of time when it is expressed in such large numbers. For comparison, in that period, a child could grow up, become an adult, and graduate from university. Time moves quietly, and realizing that 1 billion seconds covers such a long span of life makes you think about its value and fleeting nature. It's interesting that messages in bottles can travel for years across the sea. Sometimes, bottles with messages thrown into the sea can float for years before reaching a shore. The longest recorded journey of such a message lasted about 133 years. During that time, the bottle traveled thousands of kilometers. These random journeys have inspired countless stories. And even in our digital age, people continue to throw bottles into the ocean, hoping to connect with future generations.